Inter fans, and welcome to International Corner, a way to engage the Inter fans all over the world. Let me explain a little quick in Italian for the Italian fans. Ciao Inter fans, questo è International Corner. Parleremo in inglese per coinvolgere tutti i tifosi provenienti da tutte le parti del mondo, ma spero che possiate seguirci. And I'm not alone. I mean, you see the studio, but I'm not completely alone. There is a friend of mine that will accompany me in this amazing journey. I'm talking about a massive Inter fans, a great Inter expert, Mr. Richard Hall.
Thank you very much, Inter expert. You're making it sound like I've got so much knowledge now. I'm only going to disappoint, surely.
Hi, Richard. It's a pleasure for me talking with you. This is the first episode of International Corner. First of all, how are you doing?
I'm really well. It's great, obviously, to be doing the Inter podcast in English, the official one, and now to actually be on here with you. It's fantastic. So I'm really looking forward to this segment. It's always brilliant, of course, to talk about Inter and to all the English-speaking people in the world, because I'm sure a lot of people obviously don't speak Italian, and my Italian's così, so I wouldn't put them through it. So at least they can maybe just listen to us in English instead.
You can say that because now I want to hear your Italian. Say hi to the Italian fans in Italian.
Ciao, come stai? Io studio italiano per 2 anni e non bene, scusi.
Oh, bravissimo! You are very good. Don't worry. Great. Would you like to explain us why you are an Inter fans?
Yeah, I won't take too long on this. It's a strange one because obviously I was born in the UK, whilst I have very far-flung French and Italian background in my family history. It's nothing to do with that. This might sound as a shock for Italians and English people, but my father didn't like football, didn't like calcio, strangely. But he used to work in and out of Milan. And when I was 8 years old, I asked him for a football shirt. I'm 44 now. And so he came back with an Inter shirt, of course, of that great era of the likes of Matteus, Bergami, Zenga, and Berti and Ferri. And after that, that was me. So I've been an Inter fan ever since. We were lucky to get Italian football in the UK. So, yeah, I've always been able to watch Inter and obviously travelled there. So you can imagine for me, obviously, to be here with you and to do the podcast is a dream come true. So it's great to just be able to talk Inter.
But do you have like an idol?
I've got a few.
I know that it's difficult to choose just one, but okay, a couple.
Yeah, I'll have to go. Yeah, of course. I mean, the two that stand, three, if that's okay. Can I take three?
Yes.
When I was a child growing up, I was a goalkeeper at not a great level. So Walter Zenga was always there. I loved Lothar Matthäus growing up. I just thought he was so dynamic. His power, his mentality, everything was superb. And it's remiss of me to not mention Javier Zanetti, who I think just evokes emotions in every single Inter fan. I think it has to be him. So there's so many you could choose from for different reasons, but those are the three that always stick in my memory.
Oh, very nice. I think that our fans can be perfectly agree with you. But the last question about your passion for Inter, and then for sure we start to talk about what our guys are doing on the pitch. Do you have like a best memory about Nero-Azzurri colors?
Yeah, I'm going to have to do more than one. I think one of the ones that stands out was that's a really interesting one. I'll take two fairly, well, not recent because obviously I'm old. So 2006 to me is still recent. 2006, 2007, the Torino game that we won 3-0 in the last day of the season. Maicon scored that ridiculous goal. It was when Figo ended up taking the penalty because of the fans making him do it. We lifted the Scudetto in San Siro. I was there for that. I was in the stadium. I think I was in the stadium for about 4 or 5 hours that day. It was incredible. So that sticks out a lot. And also when Vecino scores that header in Rome, I was there as well in the Curva Sud, as it would be in the Stadio Olimpico. And that was such a dramatic game that was just so incredible. seeing the way we actually qualified for the Champions League on that final day. And those two stand out personally for me just because of the atmosphere and when I was there.
That's amazing. But do you know also some songs from the Curva?
None that I'll sing on here.
I didn't tell you.
Yeah, I've got lots of experiences on the Curva, but that's for a different podcast. So.
I'm joking. Don't worry. It's just to make you laugh a little bit. The Nerazzurri go back to the top of the Serie A with an amazing win against Fiorentina. A tough game. Richard, I picked some social posts from our guys that maybe help us to talk about this game and about the shape. I mean, Inter is doing very good in this period. They won the Super Cup. So let's start with the first picture that I pick from Darmian. I ask help to our director, Marco Secchi. Oh, that's one. Oh, thank you. This is the color of the day. They play with the third kit, the orange one, and he put also the carrots. And it's because for Italian people, it was an amazing day, even because of Sinner. Did you watch the final of the Australian Open?
Absolutely, yeah. I think my affiliation with Italy always, it transcends all sports, actually. So, yeah, of course. I mean, it was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. And the resilience and the mental fortitude to win that, it shows in any elite sports person. It takes something special, and he certainly showed it, didn't he?
Oh, what Sinner did is amazing. He is phenomenal. And it was such a good day because Inter won too and won with the orange jersey. So we can just take a look about the other picture that I pick of Sommer. Okay, this one. We move, let's go. Andiamo. That means let's go for our international fans. Okay, he played amazing. He saved the Nico Gonzalez penalty and some other amazing saves. Do you think that Sommer was the MVP of the match?
Yeah, I actually do, because I think that that game was really difficult. Let's not, we have to. I think when you win titles, and hopefully that's what we go on to do, is win the Scudetto. But it's games like that when we were pressed very hard, very early on, and it was very difficult. And I think when you have someone with such calm, that sort of calmness that resonates through to the defense throughout the whole game, it really helps. So for that reason alone, I think that his experience and his mentality just transcends into the back players, which is massive. And of course, look, it's not just about the penalty, but in that moment, you've got the whole Curva behind you going absolutely crazy. Everybody knows what's on the line. We know what Juventus have done, and again, with the game against Empoli, it's so important to go into the derby with 3 points. And look, Nico tries that penalty, and it's he dives so late because he waits, and I think it's so important. So yeah, absolutely for me, just because that topped off what was an already great performance from him.
Yes, for me too. I agree with you. I mean, it's always difficult in these last matches to just choose one MVP because they are doing a great job as a team, but Sommer was great against Fiorentina. Keep going with the Lautaro post. Okay, the captains, the capitano. We have just to keep going to think about ourselves. We don't have to talk about anybody else. Grandi ragazzi, good job, guys. These are the words of the captain. He scored the goal. Such an amazing season. I have a question for you. Do you think that Lautaro stepped up, after the World Cup? I mean, maybe with his mindset or not, and which was the moment in your opinion, because he's growing?
Yeah, I actually think with Lautaro, I think what I really like about him is he's got it's not. I don't think it's one moment. I think that this is something from when he joined the club. He's gradually been growing, and it's good habits, consistent good habits. The way he is on and off the field is exemplary, and you can see that in his game. It's not. People have said, "Oh, how many times have we heard Lautaro and whoever? What a partnership! Oh, now it's Lautaro and somebody else. What a partnership! Now it's because of Lautaro." And so, he's maturing at a great rate. And I think, of course, now, he's looked on as one of the most elite strikers in Europe, if not the world. And I think that he recognizes that, but it's also comes with a responsibility. And the way that I actually think he's a very unselfish player as well. But his growth is fantastic, and he's there in big moments for us, and that's absolutely huge. So certainly, he's, for me, embodies what a captain is supposed to be at Inter.
He grabbed his 124th goal, so he reached the eighth place as a goal scorer in Inter histories. So for sure, numbers helps us to say what he's doing on his pitch and how he's amazing. 19 goals in the Italian league. Did you expect this type of chemistry with his mate Thuram?
Um, yes and no, because obviously, when I was talking before, I'm not surprised because he's had great chemistry with almost everybody he's played with, and I think that again that goes down to him as an individual and how, again, unselfish he is, how much that he adapts, and for someone who's a goal scorer who primarily should be almost a selfish player, he really isn't. I am surprised of how well it's worked with Marcus Thuram because I mean both of them when we counter attack it's just lethal, and the pace and the power of both of them, and the way they find each other in such quick moments is amazing. So yeah, I'm surprised how quickly it's happened, but it's great to watch.
Let's watch the last post about Carlos Augusto. He said, showing the strength of the group. Sometimes we ask to ourselves, which is the secret of this Inter? I think that probably is the strength of the group because, for example, against Fiorentina, without Çalhanoğlu and Barella and Di Marco on the bench, they play great. All the players that came out from the bench are doing such a great job. So even for coach Simone Inzaghi, it's always difficult to choose, and if we talk about the goal that Lautaro scored, we have to mention also about Aslani and his corner. His job, it wasn't easy because he didn't play a full game for a long time. So he started from the beginning, and I mean, he has a player like Çalhanoğlu in front of him that can teach him a lot of things that he's doing, like a great job with the great leadership. And I mean, Aslani was like, okay, I'm here. I can do that. I can play my game, and I can also make a great assist for the captain. What do you think about his performance?
Yeah, I mean, fantastic. I mean, I think that you mentioned it before, and I don't know what you think, in the sense of with this team. I think that it says a lot about not just the players but the coach as well, to be able to keep a group of players happy together, to realize that it's not just about themselves, it's about the bigger purpose. I think you see that with all of the players, and the fact that they're so motivated and able to come in big games. I mean, Fiorentina was a very big game. Obviously, with the amount of fixtures we've had, it's been difficult. Adsani, Carlos, whoever came in, stepped up and played as if they'd been playing week in, week out. And I think that's testament to their own mentality, but also the culture in the squad. But I think, I don't know about you, but credit as well to Inzaghi for instilling that.
After the win of the Super Cup, we talk about it even during other lives TV show, Lautaro said, I feel like a young boy who plays with his friends. I have this joy to play. And I think that this is what they are communicating to us. Do you feel the same when you watch Inter playing?
Yeah, because I think that it transcends it to the fans, doesn't it? I mean, I think that a lot of Inter fans watching the games at the moment, even when we're under pressure, you feel that there's the collective group working and putting themselves on the line. Like I said before, the ability to counter attack, always gives us that hope all the time in the game, even in difficult games. And we do seem to have different ways of playing. We can break teams down when they put all the men behind the ball, and vice versa. So I think that the way that the players are playing, like Lautaro has mentioned, they do feel like they're having fun, and in a way that stops some of the pressure as well, potentially. So yeah, I mean they are a joy to watch at the moment. So yeah, long may it continue, hopefully as well.
Richard, now thanks to our colleague Elena, we can hear the words of our players after the match against Fiorentina.
It was a tough game, but a well-deserved win. This is how Simone Inzaghi commented on Inter's performance in a post-match interview with us.
Nonostante un ottimo primo tempo dove dovevamo essere ancora più bravi perché i ragazzi hanno fatto un ottimo primo tempo e dovevamo fare il secondo gol, purtroppo non l'abbiamo trovato e poi contro un'ottima Fiorentina rischi di soffrire come è stato. Sono stati bravissimi, insomma, hanno fatto un grandissimo lavoro tutti quanti, insomma, sarebbe riduttivo parlare solo di Frattesi e Slani, ma non avevo nessun dubbio sulla loro prova. Si allenano sempre bene e poi quelli che sono entrati in un momento di difficoltà ci hanno dato una grande mano. Grandissimo spirito di squadra, sono stati bravissimi, hanno sofferto tutti insieme quando dovevano soffrire, come era stato insomma nella trasferta di Riyadh, perché non dimentichiamo che questa squadra nel giro di una settimana aveva fatto 2 finali ravvicinate che al di là della stanchezza fisica ci avevano portato via tante energie mentali.
Jan Sommer came out as the main protagonist of the match after a brilliant save in the first half and later the incredible save on Nico Gonzalez's penalty.
We studied before, we always study the players before and but it's always a little bit of luck as well. But I was happy because it was a tough game and a really, really important win. I feel very good and I'm really happy to play with this team, to play with this club because we can see with how much passion we play every game and of course we had a little bit of luck today for this win, but on a long way in a season you need as well this point of luck. So I'm happy how it is at the moment and we keep on going.
A very pleasing performance are the words of Cristiano Slani after he provided the assist to Lautaro Martinez's goal.
Dei compagni incredibili al mio fianco, mi aiutano tutti i giorni e quindi questa cosa mi fa crescere tutti i giorni e sto imparando molto da loro. Riguardo la partita, sapevamo che fosse una partita molto difficile questa, venire a Firenze e portare via i 3 punti è veramente difficile, siamo stati bravi, abbiamo sofferto da grande squadra e alla fine il risultato ci ha premiato. Sto imparando tantissimo, ho dei campioni al mio fianco, mi stanno aiutando veramente tutti i giorni e io posso solo che imparare e crescere. Sì, sono contento del primo assist, adesso dobbiamo cercare davvero di fare il primo gol, speriamo arrivi presto.
Richard, we listened the words of our coach, Sommer, and Aslani. How is important the trust that this player have in coach Simone Inzaghi?
Huge. I mentioned it before a little bit. I think that what's key here, and we see it in history, we see it over certain squads, and I'm not talking about Inter, I'm talking football in general, when there seems to be not the unity or the idea of to understand where we're going. And I think that unity is the word really, because you can tell that each player, when they talk, and this goes throughout the whole season, it's very much about the journey to the end goal. They understand their positions in the squad, of the hierarchy of where they have to play. They know that they can come on and do their jobs. They're well disciplined, they're well drilled. And that's what gives me confidence for the rest of the season, because in my humble opinion, we have one of the strongest squads, if not the strongest. And because the coach has them very focused on, what they do when they come onto the pitch, and they know that they have a very clear plan. It sets us up for being able to obviously compete in the big games, but make sure we don't slip up in the smaller ones as well. And it's fantastic to see.
Well, after the Super Cup and the Fiorentina match, now it's time to think about the big match against Juventus. Well, did you expect a championship like this?
No. I thought I was going to have a really good answer then. No, because, and this is with the greatest respect to Juventus, I didn't expect them to be challenging this season after what we've seen recently. You look, and it's been a very different ways of getting to the same point almost. Like we said, Inter have at times they've decimated teams. They've looked exciting, they've looked brilliant on the counter, they've looked unified. And Juventus, in the nicest possible way, have done it very differently, should we say. It's probably not as been an enjoyable a watch. But look, the statistics are statistics, and it was good to see that result against Empoli. It was obviously beneficial for us. And now, we have an opportunity. I think this is obviously a huge game. It goes without saying. So hopefully that title race will not become so much of a race in the coming weeks. But no, I didn't expect Juventus to be challenging at this point.
It's a surprise head-to-head. Of course, we don't know right now the possible lineup, the probably formazioni, but we can just take a look about the players that probably we will watch on the pitch, okay? We can start from the goalkeeper. We talk about Sommer, and the duel is with Szczesny. What do you like the most?
Well, I do like the goalkeepers. As I said, I used to play at a very small level, but I think Jan Sommer for me at this moment in time is more complete. I think I like Szczesny as a goalkeeper. I think that when his confidence is up, he's excellent. Especially, he's very agile. He's learning his positioning a little bit better as well at the moment. But distribution-wise, we saw right at the end of the Empoli game, it would have been interesting to see if there was a couple more minutes on the clock there. There's a few wayward passes. But I think that the unity between, go back to that word again, between Sommer and our defence, they have a way of thinking together, which gives us the edge. And I think Jan Sommer as well at the moment is playing so much confidence, especially after winning the Super Cup, especially after the penalty save. For this game alone, I would say that he'd go in with more confidence.
If we think about the defenders, we can imagine Gatti, Bremer, probably Danilo against Pavard, Acerbi, Bastoni. We don't know yet, but it's possible. I think that Pavard is Pavard the Interista, we call it like this. Pavard, Benji the Interista, is growing more and more. Every game is showing something new. What do you like the most? What is the most important skill about this player that is not helping only in defense, but even in attack, in offense?
I think it's the speed of distribution, the confidence of distribution. I think we can put that down to, you see it a lot in Bastoni as well, obviously with his ridiculous range of passing. But with Pavard, I think that, when you come into a team, especially a team that's used to winning, it's got a lot of players in there that are elite, top quality players. You look at Pavard and it's the confidence to come in. And also the way that, as I said, it's these guys, and we can talk about the midfield later, but especially these guys, from when we are under pressure, the speed to get the ball out into the midfield or bypass the midfield. For me, it's the ability and the passing range to do that, and the confidence to do that as well. As you rightly say there, like you said, it's almost there, the beginning of the attack, aren't they? So yeah, special players.
Yes, because we talk about Sommer, but for sure, the defense is helping him a lot. Like the organization, that is pretty cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that I go back to it. It is that when you say the organization, and it's knowing every player without the ball knows what they're doing so well. I was amazed when I came down years and years ago to watch Inter train. And I've seen English teams train. I've seen him a few times under different coaches, and I know Inzaghi does the same thing. But the work rate off the ball, even when they train with no ball on the pitch, sometimes it blows my mind.
Yes.
But it's like a chess game, if the ball is in a certain position, the team shape is fantastic, and these guys have got the ability to not only think that, to recognize what's around them. I think that's one point I like about Pavard as well, is the vision. It's not just what's in front of him. He has that 360 vision, which we often just associate with midfield players. He has that as well. So no, he's top quality.
Yes, the organization, the vision, the adjustment that they do. Sometimes we joke and we say that it's like we are playing to the PlayStation because everything looks so perfect.
As if it was that easy, and maybe I'd be playing.
Yes, I mean, I'm not an expert, but everything looks perfect. The passes, everything is perfect. Talking about the midfield, do you think that probably this will make the difference? Do you think that maybe Inter midfield has something more than the midfield of Juventus?
Oh, absolutely. I think this is one of the key points because, again, you rightly say, Guy, that we don't know who's starting, but if we just talk about some of the players who've been brilliant in the last couple of months even, I've been writing and talking in many different areas about Hakan Çalhanoğlu, who for me is just coming on leaps and bounds, and the difference he makes with set pieces, of course, we know that. But defensively, I just think he's come on amazingly well, and every game he seems to grow and become more and more dependable. I just don't know what he can't do at the moment. And I think on top of all the work rate, the defensive aspect, the set pieces, again, he's another one with that 360 vision. He's a difference maker, and he can change things in big games as well, do something extraordinary. And I think for that reason alone, he's got potentially the ability to win a game. And when we look at the players, I could go on and on, but if I just name, obviously, Barella. I don't know who puts his batteries in, but they last a long time. I have never seen a player run so much. It doesn't matter what situation in the game is. He's so much more than just the energy, but you can guarantee that even in the last moments of a game that's been really heavily fought, that he'll still be going, and he's just an incredible athlete, never mind a footballer. So, and the likes of Fratesi, we could go on and on, but I think that there's so many options was shown in the Fiorentina game, which, Guy, you rightly referred to earlier, that these players, as you say, can come in and do a job that whoever we line up with, I have to be honest, I'm going to be confident that we will be able to hopefully have more fights and more quality in the midfield.
I love his grit. I feel when he comes into the pitch that he really want to score, he really want to play. I don't know how to explain it, but I really feel this energy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that transcends, that energy transcends into the other players. If you're, I have no experience, so I'm guessing here. I'm not trying to say I know, but I would imagine that if I was, a footballer and was ever lucky enough to do that, and that someone came onto the pitch and I was tired, and they just have that constant energy that breeds into you to give it some more. And as I said before, the whole team is working together really, really well, and a lot of it stems from that midfield, the work rate, and the ability to transition the ball, which we talked about with Pavard already, and the Bastoni, the fact that when we're under pressure to get the ball into the midfield, and then obviously we release Lautaro or Thuram, and we know the results are sometimes devastating.
How will be important for you the offensive approach of Di Marco, because he provided 5 assists in the Serie A. I think no defender has done better. And do you think it will be one of the key?
Di Marco's great, isn't he? I mean, Inter fan, and that's what you want to see at the club. And it's what in England we'd call it a boy's own dream. It's what you're growing up wanting to do, and he seems to be living that dream. And again, like we said about Hakan, I mean, I don't know what you think, Guy, but we have so many players with the ability from dead ball situations to be superb. The fact that we can choose so many different options is fantastic. And Di Marco, it's not just obviously that, it's the pace down that left-hand side. I like the way he sometimes gets the ball in really early, because if we think that a lot of the time, and I keep using that counter-attacking word, but a lot of the time we have players coming into the box from a deep position, and he has that ability to put the ball in just in front of the defence, but then it's going to land behind. And it must be so difficult to defend against. But he's playing with, again, just like so many of the players, more and more confidence every game. And yeah, it's remarkable the amount of assists that he has.
Will be interesting the duels with Cambiaso and Kostic, probably Dumfries and Di Marco. What do you think about these duels?
Look, I mean, it's going to be interesting, because I think that Juventus are obviously very, very well drilled this season. And they will be expecting, they will have studied Inter a lot. And they will look to try and diminish the threats from the wide positions. It's going to be very interesting how Inzaghi approaches that and looks to have maybe different options of how we do try and break Juventus down. But if you think that if we can use as we mentioned before, people like Bastoni and Hakan, who've got the ability to spread the balls over the top of the defence, the pace of the likes of Di Marco, especially Dumfries as well, when up against Kostic, you'd be hoping that, we would have a lot of luck and on the wide positions. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting for me personally, I'm sure yourself and the fans, to just see how we combat breaking down Juventus.
And we didn't mention probably Rabiot, McKennie and Locatelli. I mean, we are just saying names, guys. We really don't know now the lineups, but probably this will be the midfield of the Juventus.
Yeah, and you're right. We've not seen anything to say that these players are starting.
We're just talking.
Okay. That's it. I mean, there's different times when we know that potentially Rabiot, Chiesa are fit, but whether they play,
do you expect this lineup?
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's easier to predict probably the Juventus lineup in some respects, because I don't think that they have the depth that Inter have. So if these players are fit, I would expect Allegri to start them. Listen, Rabiot is a player who I think from a lot of people that I've spoken to this season, potentially hasn't been one of their favourite players, hasn't been a player, he's caused conversation, should we say. But this season, he's been good. He's blossoming a little bit, and he's becoming quite a stubborn midfielder, also with qualities. So he will be one as well that would be quite combative in the midfield. So that midfield battle, as you rightly alluded to, will be very fascinating come the weekend.
And if we will see Thuram and Lauti probably as strikers on the other side, Ildiz or Chiesa, we'll see if they will recover him with Vlahovic. Probably one of the men of the month. Lautaro versus Vlahovic, the first of the standing and the second one. 19 goals for Lautaro, 12 for Vlahovic, and a perfect month for the Serbian. It's crazy what he's doing. I mean, probably he finally found the shape. He resolved every injuries problems, and probably we are watching again the Vlahovic of the Fiorentina.
Absolutely. I mean, when he was at Fiorentina, I thought he was going to be one of the elite strikers in the world. I mean, he's certainly got the potential. I wish he was finding his form at a different time in the season. but you're correct that over the last couple of months he's been unplayable in some games. I mean, he's been for me that how do you put it, the edge for Juventus, that bit of stardust that has allowed them in some of the games where they potentially haven't played brilliantly, they've relied on him to make the difference. I think that's one worry, if anything, is because with him, he can do something where, you're not expecting it. But again, when you compare him, obviously we have other players. We've mentioned probably 2, 3, 4 players for Inter who can do that already in this conversation. So, overall, the confidence, of course, for me is with Inter. But, it certainly will be interesting to see how we try and contain the danger that's obviously there with the serving.
Do you think that Juventus have changed since Yildiz arrived? That maybe he bring more energy, he energized the Juventus system or not? What do you think about this young guy?
Look, he's fantastic, and he's really one of those players who how can I put this? He's a player who plays for one of the opposition teams who, obviously, we have let's just say a ridiculously big rivalry with. And he's a difficult player not to like because of his qualities. I think he has energized them. Of course he has. And I think that they needed that. Looking at Juventus, Allegri's made a career on being pragmatic. They've started seasons in the past when they used to win things a little like a freight train. It starts slowly and build and build and build. And it seems like he's got a little bit of that momentum at the moment, but they still lack that bit of creativity and the likes, and they are waiting for someone like Vlahovic to create the moment. This gives them a little bit more consistency and creativity. So, yeah, definitely the man of the moment as well for Juventus.
Yes, he's impressive. But do you know, Richard, which is the best way to prepare ourselves to this big match?
I have no idea. I wasn't expecting that question.
With our history, I would like to show you the top 5 of Inter-Juventus goals. Well, Richard, these memories are something unbelievable. Are you agree with us? The best one is the goal of Maicon.
Yeah, without doubt. I mean, I was thinking about that because I knew that was coming today, and but just thinking about it over the last couple of days, and as soon as you think about this fixture, you think about that goal. There's no doubt that was number one. But there were some brilliant goals in that collection as well.
Okay, okay. We had the chance to interview him during the match viewing experience, the semi-final of Super Cup. He was there. He was very happy about this Inter. Did you expect an Inter like this one since the beginning of the season? I mean, this spirit, this group. Did you expect this level?
You'd hope. I think it's something you hope for, but it's been beyond expectation. I think. Yeah, I think it has. I think that you want, obviously, every season the team to take the next step and to challenge for the Scudetto. You know, obviously, the squad. You think yes, it's deep enough. It's good enough, but again, using that word, keep going back to in unity, the way that they're playing together, they're playing for each other, and the quality as well. It feels like it's difficult to think. As a fan, we're all used to the good times, the ups, the downs, and everything else. But it just seems like there's a lot of good times at the moment, and especially with obviously the Super Coppa, that was fantastic. So yeah, it's. And the semi-final against Lazio, where we decimated them. In fairness, it was the levels are very, very high, and it's great to watch.
And we hope to continue to watch this Inter and to continue to joy with these guys. Well, Richard, thanks for being with us. We appreciate. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for having me. As I said before, you know, it's great to be doing the podcast for you guys, and it's even more fun, as much fun doing this as well. So anytime you can get me to talk about Inter, then the better as well.
Thank you very much. Thanks to all the Inter fans. Subscribe to the channel, get notified to stay updated, and see you soon with another episode of International Corner. Forza Inter.